task traffic, as they call it, is complete bullshit. Pardon my French. It's worthless. There is no active users.
This episode is brought to you by TapAds. TapAds is the first CPA network for Telegram apps. If you are a Telegram app developer, you can acquire new users or monetize your app through TapAds. Check it out on tapads.io. Welcome back to the Epic Web3 podcast. I'm Alex, your host and CEO and co-founder of Epic Web3. Today we're diving into our third episode on the Ton and Telegram ecosystem. And my guest today is Daniil, CEO and co-founder of TonTon Games, the leading game publisher on Telegram. Daniil, hi.
Hi there, Alex. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very glad to be here today.
Yeah, awesome. And let's start with describing briefly what is TonTon Games today. What are you focusing on right now? What are your key metrics? So give us a brief intro.
As actually you already outlined, TonTon Games is a publisher of games on Telegram, on the Ton network. So for us, it is very important to bring the meaningful gamify and gaming experiences on Telegram and Ton. So basically, games would become more available and accessible. So basically, all over 1 billion of users on Telegram would enjoy playing the games, not just the people who are after airdrops or token generation events, which is absolutely not bad at all, but we are thinking long term. And for us, in this case, WeChat or Kakao is basically or are basically a North Stars. So quality gaming experience with proper Web3 usability and usage is what we are looking for.
Okay, that was a good pitch. But now tell us the truth. I mean, so what? How do you basically work? So you take the game, you help them with marketing, you help them to grow. So tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, with great pleasure. So basically, TonTon Games as a publisher, we work with two streams primarily. First one is game itself, and as we call it, game enhancement. So we are people with over a few decades combined of experience in the gaming, Web2 and Web3 industries. So we are goddamn sure about what does it mean to create an interesting and engaging game to play in, and we are helping with game loop, core gameplay, also monetization strategies to, for instance, to make the users willing to pay, not to feel burdened to pay within the app. Also, with the design side of things, to make the app not look secondary like it was generated in the AI image generator. So all of the thing, and up until the time that we feel that the game is ready, we then, through our partners, help to bring traffic to the game and test the metrics. I think what is very important to understand that currently, unfortunately for us as a publisher, there is no all-in-one solution for marketing products on Ton and Telegram. It is always, for better or for worse, tailored, bespoke solutions that combine PR efforts, working with K, and also Telegram advertisements. So we are step by step bringing, and together with our partners in traffic and user acquisition, bringing that traffic into the app in a smaller, then slightly bigger and bigger quantities, measuring all of the metrics down the road. And our main goal as a publisher to publish several games, push them through the gaming publishing department and also marketing department, and see which games are the most promising in the roster, and then double down on the winners and basically stop working not with the losers but with the games that does not show the metric as we expect from it in terms of retention of day 1, day 7, conversion into paying users, and other.
Okay, so basically, we can say that you take the game, you help with the marketing, you help with growth, you help with monetization, you help with everything. So in exchange, you take a portion of shares in the game developer studio right now. How does it work?
Not specifically like that. So first of all, as a publisher, we take 50% of gross revenue, marketing revenue generated from the in-app purchases, ad sales, ad networks, and so on and so forth. And also 3+% from the token allocation. But it is very important to highlight that token generation event is not a deal breaker for us. I have already witnessed a few applications, some of which we published, some of which were published by either publishers or individual game developers, that perfectly working even without token generation anticipated by the users.
Okay, okay. So, how many games are now in your portfolio? Can you give us
Yes.
a whole picture?
Yes, of course, it's not a secret. So basically, TonTon Games was founded in June 2024, and the market is moving so fast that, to our surprise, by some market players and participants, we already consider it as an OG because we started during early summertime. But my point is that during that time, we actually reviewed over 300 Telegram mini apps that were submitted for the publishing, ended up with 7 projects in the roster that we helped from the sites that I already explained earlier, and basically ended up with one gem, the product that we believe the most, and it showcases all of the signs of growth, which is called Dirifty. It is a merge to game. I think we could use Catizen as an example, and this game is already in top 10 grossing apps on Telegram officially, was verified by Telegram with a tick sign, which is basically a showcase that Telegram is believing the perspective of this application. It generates from the in-app monetization, basically from stars, it be in between 5 to 6 figure revenue monthly, and it boasts around 500k active monthly users, and this is a real users. I think Telegram earlier, even a few months back, was notorious for all of this 20, 30, 50 million application, out of which only a teeny tiny size for playing. So when I'm saying 500k MAU, this is a real users, and around a few dozens of percent are playing users.
Yeah. Okay. So, but did you mention the exact number of games you're publishing? You said 7
Yes,
went
7
through
games
your.
were published. Yes,
Okay.
basically 300 were reviewed. 7 ended up into publishing. So we basically helped them with the traffic, with the games, mechanic, and stuff. And only one of those was showed the signs of becoming a gem,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And we are right now doubling down on it. And if you think from this perspective, I believe the job of a publisher is some kind of a VC job, when basically in order to get a unicorn, you need to invest into 100 companies. So we are doing more or less the same thing, but at a smaller scale, and also using our multi-decade experience in building projects that were used by millions gamers worldwide.
Okay, so your number one title right now is DRFT Party. You mentioned between 5 and 6 figure. I assume. Okay, let's assume it's something like 100k revenue per month. So for me, that's a lot. I mean, from what I know about this Telegram audience is that they are not willing to pay at all. I mean, so they basically they are here for earning money, not spending money. So, and it looks like this game somehow managed to acquire users who actually pay. So, can you tell us a little bit more about, maybe, I don't know, secret sauce, how to do this?
I think there is no secret sauce. I just feel that everyone is trying to reinvent the wheel. I believe right
Okay,
now on Telegram, there is a whole zoo of click to earn applications. We have capybaras, we have otters, beavers, you name it. Like, the
Capybara
full
is my
code.
favorite.
Mine too. I also love
We both have kids, so we understand that capybara is totally on fire.
there is a new insight on this podcast today. I never knew that I have kids, but I will tell this my wife. I will ask her where are our kids.
Come on, no, you don't.
No, I don't have any kids. I'm too poor for that.
You live in London, yeah, yeah. If I lived in London, I would also fire my kids, yeah, as well. Sorry for
Absolutely.
this, yeah.
No, that's absolutely fine. We can talk a lot about living in the UK in a side podcast. But basically, answering your question about the secret sauce and why people are trying to reinvent the wheel is that it's much easier to follow the trend, but it is much harder to go against the trend. So while everyone were doing the click to earn mechanic in a product with different type of animals. Back then in April, May, June, we, with our experience in game development, were actually more focused about what's going to be next, because as they say, if you hear about any trend, it means that it is too late to jump on it. And for us, it was very evident that once all of this hype will cool down, let's say it, a more gamified, a more polished gaming experiences would be required by the market. So we made a bet. It was an educated guess, I won't lie. At the same time, and basically all of the projects, not just the Rifty Party in our portfolio, was like that, the proper games in different genres, PvP, tower defense, merge 2, and other. And one of the bets basically played. And I think when the audience, the community, feels that you respect them, feels that they are not overwhelmed with so many shining banners that push you to spend money, they are more willing to spend. When the product itself doesn't smell or look like a scam. And I think this is also very important. And we, and basically the game developers, are very transparent with the community. They are getting ready to launch NFT collection soon. And even from the Web3 perspective, I believe the game developers is doing the right thing, because they are trying to utilize the Web3 in a longer term. Because what showed us all of those TGEs early in 2024, that once token is launched, for most of the projects, the users lost the interest in a product, and they will really only care about the movement of a token on an exchange. So we are trying to avoid that, to create a real value for that. So basically, the developers, what they are doing, they will launch an NFT collection soon. And then basically, for the holders of the NFTs, they would be able to basically participate in a closed beta of a PvP drag racing game within the Rifty Party, which would be later launched for the whole audience. And just like that, step by step, there would be more and more utility for the token that the team, I believe, expect to launch in 2025, as far as I'm concerned.
So there will be a token.
As far as I'm concerned, yes, but at the very same time, what is very important, that neither we as a publisher nor the developers are rushing with it. Because once again, if you look at the latest token generation events, they were not as successful as the first ones, like Notcoin, for instance. So the trend is already to some extent disappeared. And in order to create another TG, you have to use different approach. And it creates much more careful execution in economics, thinking about utility. So yes, I think it is expected to have a token later in 2025, but in order to do everything right, I cannot say you any exact date because it's still in the works.
Okay. But anyways, it's just the question of strategy. So I mean, if so your strategy, the strategy of GRFT is to make more utility for token, right? So not just dump it to centralized exchanges and everything, but so if the game is already generating revenue and if the users like it, if there's some retention, why do they need a token in the first place? I mean, maybe not launching a token at all.
You're asking the right question, actually, and this is why I'm so careful talking about the token, because any not well thought word might affect the future of the token. So I think what we should do actually is, once the team is ready to speak about the token, I would annoy you with suggesting to record another podcast with the team who are basically other developers and other token holders, and then you could ask them all of your tricky questions, because I don't feel it is right to speak on behalf of the team as a publisher.
Sure. I just wanted to understand what is your position here. So do you think in general this I don't know, if I'm a game developer today, so do you think I should plan to launch a token in the future and plan my strategy based on this, or do you think it's better to try to build a sustainable unit economy, retention, all this like more traditional approach, and maybe then in the future, if you have some because I'll explain my question, because every advice I get is like, do not launch a token ever. Like, focus on building a product from one side, and from the other side, everybody is launching tokens. Everybody launch tokens every month. There is a new TGE and everything. So there's a bit like I don't know, misunderstanding here. So maybe you explain your.
You're actually absolutely right. And basically, what the DFT party team is doing, they are following the second scenario. So instead of promising right away the token launch to the community, they first build a great game in which users are spending money, that have a loyal audience of around 500,000 monthly active users. And then once you're in that position of generating revenue and stuff, now it is better to, I believe, at least start considering of a token launch. While the mistake what I believe was done before with many projects is, let's launch token first, and then based on the performance of the tokens, we will see whether we're gonna drop the game if it failed and we cashed out. And basically this is a horrible scenario, all of these pump and dump schemes embarrassed of those. Or for instance, if it is a successful TG, then we go into think what we will do with the game. So we basically did vice versa, and this is how we actually was able to get into all of those top rankings and stuff, because we are doing it differently. And I think the industry itself and the Telegram notices that, and this is why like the guys, the developers, are so careful with token, because you're absolutely right. If there would be any real need into token, it is not needed. But I think the guys has a great plans of turning the DFT party into a gaming franchise. And basically what they're thinking about that this token might be used across multiple projects. And I think as they already showcased to the industry, they're capable of developing great gaming experiences to last. And I think this is a key pillar to have, which is perhaps a must when even start thinking about the token. If you don't have the products that are loved by the audience and which generates money and which is actually self-sufficient and break even on its own, token won't fix your problems at all. You know, as there is a phrase, a very weird phrase, but to some extent I agree with you, or with that phrase, that great sex won't save poor marriage, and basically bad sex won't help the great marriage fall apart. And this is, I think, exactly that kind of instance. So creating a meaningful experience first, be it break even first, and then thinking of where to bring this narrative further.
What about the advertising monetization? So you mentioned that the revenue is quite good on the in-app purchases, which is great. From what I see, most of the apps are trying to monetize through the ads. What do you think of that?
For us as a publisher, because we are basically responsible for the revenue generating within the app, we see that in-app purchases are like 3/3 of the income of the application monthly, or even more than that. So I cannot say that it is possible to rely just on ads network. At some point of time, I believe in September, we got more or less the same revenue from the application, from ads and from in-app purchases. But then, while the product got better and better, the revenue from in-app purchases skyrocketed. And I think this is also important to understand, that why it also skyrocketed while the ads not skyrocketed. Because the amount of the audience is growing steadily but slowly, because it is very important to find your audience, while ads is all about quantity, not quality, while the revenue from the in-app purchases are vice versa. It's about quality, not quantity. So perhaps if our product would boast tens of millions of active users, and it might be, let's say, a viral app or like a social app, which for a general audience, having an in-app ads monetization would make more sense and would generate more revenue. But our business model is simply different, so I understand why it is so, but at the very same time, any income is still income. So for us, it is very important to still have this revenue and like revenue stream, basically.
Yeah, if we look at the mature ecosystems like mobile gaming, it's always a combination. So the game is free to play, and then you have ads in the game, a lot of ads, and you can upgrade not to see ads, or you can buy some boosts, or you can see ads to get these boosts, because there's always the part of the audience not willing to pay, and you want to monetize them, and you usually prefer to monetize them through ads. Then yeah, like premium users, they pay. So I think the proper strategy here should be a combination of this. But yeah, I totally agree that making in-app purchase the main focus is right strategy, because otherwise you just buy traffic and sell traffic, so there is no added value here in your app. So okay, speaking about user acquisition, so what are the main channels you see right now? Is it virality, is it buying traffic, is it something else?
So, as I mentioned earlier, I believe at the beginning of our talk, unfortunately, I genuinely believe, due to the fact that the market growth skyrocketed within just a few months, there is no proper performance marketing within the Telegram mini apps ecosystem. And it's not fault of anyone. As I just say, I believe as much lucrative opportunity to create your own mini app, it is to create a marketing and analytical tool set for the builders and for the publishers, because they are just growing and they're at the very early stage, and they are basically MVP, alpha, or beta level products. So there is still plenty of space for another market players. But answering your question, for me, it is all about creating a bespoke strategy, and it is not about selecting one channel over another. I think it is more about how fast are you able to run the experiments with not big budgets in order to understand the specific channels that is working for you, and then doubling down onto it. As of the DRFT party success, we actually find the most valuable audience by working with X.com, X Twitter, key opinion leaders, also promoting it within the meaningful applications within the Telegram. At the very same time, I think the hype is over, but for us it was evident even earlier than that task traffic, as they call it, is complete bullshit. Pardon my French. It's worthless. There is no active users. I have literally witnessed with one of our partner apps, not the ones that we publish, that the guys got 500k users from another application, and they paid for this, I believe, around k or even k dollars, and they ended up with having just 5,000, basically 1% of active audience, while there was promised a different thing. So this is the channels that I no one suggests to follow, and I think it's like a gold rush to some extent, and people expect the money growing on trees. No, it is not, and I think only the companies who are here, like TonTon Games, in the long term, will survive, and basically even TonTon Games have to adjust to a constantly changing market conditions. And I will give you an example related to your question. When we started as a publisher, we were offering up to 1 million users into the published application bot. While what we found out that also it is relatively cheap nowadays to fulfill this promise, it's useless. It's nothing. It's more about active audience. So right now we changed our offering to up to 1k of dedicated funding with our partners into the in-game marketing, which is, I believe, more accurate. And market is evolving. Probably 1 quarter from now we will change it to something different. And in fact, and I think this is a very important announcement to make, and I would love to make it during your podcast, is that,
Exclusive news.
yeah, like, it's by the way really exclusive because I think it was never public before. We are getting ready to launch our own game accelerator on Ton, where we
Nice.
focus in helping projects specifically in what we do best due to our backgrounds: how to create a meaningful experience, game experience that will bring joy to the users, will motivate them in the right way to pay. And basically, I believe DRFT Party serves as a great example of us being able to do that on a new market. And moreover, what we see currently is that there are a lot of market players from the first wave that were extremely successful with generating a tons of money from their TGs and stuff, but as we all see, market already moved forward past this point, and now it is not just enough to create hype around another coin or application. Now it's time to create meaningful gaming experience. And since this is our key expertise as a publishers, we would like to provide that kind of services for the market players that already exist, and some of them already showed interest in partnering with us to see our funnel and helping their projects with that, and also helping the individual developers by providing them the proper guidance on game creation, because I think there are so many ways and so many partners, agencies, ad networks where you could get traffic. There are so many ways of getting funding, dedicated funds, and so on and so forth, but we see a gap into creating a meaningful gaming experience, and we as TonTon Games, as a publisher, would like to fill it.
Very nice, very nice. Where to apply? What is the CTA?
I think the ETA is around 1 to 2 months once we
Okay.
will be ready. We are still like finalizing the concept of the accelerator, because we would like to have one part available to everyone at no cost, because for us it is also very important to help to chain the network to develop and to grow, because as they say, if another restaurant is open on the street, each restaurant get 10+% in the revenue. So we are not greedy in this way, so just wait for a few months and we will have an announcement.
Okay, you mentioned just one comment here. So you mentioned that the traffic from tasks is useless. As a founder of an ad network that sells this task traffic, I cannot help myself not to comment here. Yeah, it's useless if you just buy like 1 million users that come into your app and do nothing. But again, if we look at the mature ecosystem like mobile games, mobile game developers are actively buying rewarded traffic, and it converts to real users. They just buy not just simple just app openings, right? They buy deep events like come to the game, play, reach level 7, I don't know, spend 10 minutes in the game. So that's how they actually engage these users. So that's how this rewarded traffic should work. And yeah, for sure, how it works now, I can totally agree. It's the users just go through these tasks, complete tasks, and never return to the app. That's true.
And I think there is an elephant in the room, because us as humans are naturally inclined to only think about our problems and our challenges and not seeing the big picture. But the reality is that the slice or the portion of Web3 gamers and users on Telegram and on Ton is actually a teeny tiny part of 1 billion, almost 1 billion monthly active users on Telegram that they, let's say, Telegram has right now. And for me, as a publisher and as a market player, there is also a very important question. This is why we would like to make the accelerator partially free to attend, is to how to engage those people who has no idea that Telegram actually has applications into daily or at least weekly using them. Because more players available on the platform, the less important Web3 component will become, because the generalists, the casual and hyper casual gamers will come, and for them it is more important to have interesting gamified experiences. And by the way, this is a very promising avenue to true adoption of Web3, but once again, it has to be smooth, seamless, and natively integrated.
What are your favorite Telegram projects or games you are following, apart from those published by TonTon Games?
So there is another great game that I love, and I think this is also an example of a future type of projects that would be in demand by the audience. This is only my prediction, even as an individual. There is a project called Durov Run. This is basically a Subway Surfers game, but where Pavel Durov is the main character, and I believe the guys are doing a tremendous job, not just hyping on a name, but also by making the levels attributed to the different life stages of the Pavel himself. So this is an interesting game, and also if you think
And
about the
I think there are some cops trying to catch them.
yeah, sometimes. And my point is that if you think of this game from multiple perspective, even from and specifically from the Web3 perspective, what you can do later is actually you can buy outfits for the Pavel as an NFTs. And this is, by the way, I think this game perfectly catches the zeitgeist. So it is meme-like game, but at the very same time, it's a full gaming experience. And I think that kind of projects are the future of the Telegram apps, which I call it, this is my personally invented term, Web 2.5 games. So the games that basically takes the best from both worlds, Web 2 and Web 3.
But should they be kind of a play to earn games? So should the user have the ability to earn something there?
I think it is, as we discussed earlier, it is up on discretion of the developer. So for me, why I outlined Durafran, because I highly value that as a game itself. And also I see a lot of the potential in creating assets, digital assets into this game. While whether the developers decide to launch a token, I have no idea about it. But my main point is that if the game is successful already, there is a time to think about having TGE or not. But once again, game first, user experience first, TGE second. Not because it is unimportant, but I think even the gamers who are after getting something as a reward should not be short-sighted and understand that if the game is great and a lot of the people are playing, this means that the likelihood not just of TGE itself, but the successful TGE when everyone can earn is much higher than if someone promised you a TGE and you are spending your time, but the reality is that it most likely going to be a flop.
But in general, you believe in the play to earn concept, right? So you think it can work, right? In the
my main problem with play to earn concept that money are not created from the cloud. Like, there is no castles in the sky. So
yeah, for sure.
it is more about mechanics. So for instance, having a play to earn mechanic with a PvP component into it, I think there is a logic behind it because there is a clear path where the value can be created from. But if you just clicking into the app and doing nothing, not even getting any joy and not, let's say, watching an ad and not being able to donate, once the TG is happen, all of your time spent basically turns into real market value of your actions that you did within the application, which is quite often, unfortunately, is not that much because anyone can tap. So the more complicated the gaming experience, the more way into this gaming experience to create value that can be later distributed among the player, the more I believe into the click to earn mechanics, because right now there is a stigma that click to earn is just clicking and different animals. But we should understand that the market is evolving and it's not necessarily clicking. But still, I genuinely believe in the future of Web3 projects. I just believe that there is still a long road ahead to get rid of this notorious image of click to earn projects on Telegram as, let's say, a project that most likely either become a total flop or make the developers rich and not the communities. And this is our mission is let's say to help to build the projects that are worth it and beneficial for everyone involved. The players, the ecosystem, the game developers, and last but not least, the publisher of those games.
Not least, yeah. Okay, so maybe last question for today. What are your plans for next year as a company? What focuses?
So as I already teased, for us it is very important to launch an accelerator and to help the community of aspired game developers to grow and help them to create great projects. Second of all, we are right now doubling down on the future with the DRFT, joining the forces with the developers and helping them with the marketing of the project. And last but not least, we would like to launch another few games and find another gems out of the roster which would even surpass the success of DDFT Party and would become a project like DDFT nowadays, where the market players will point into and saying that this is something that we should follow or even we should copy because this is something that the platform was missing before. So I think our main goal as a publisher is to bring the industry forward and keep creating projects that are making happy and bringing value in monetary, non-monetary, any forms to the community.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for coming. Looking forward to see how this industry evolves, and hope you will be able to keep the pace, grow further with the industry, faster than the industry. Good luck with that. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing the insights.
You are a star. Thank you so much.